So by show of hands, who here is familiar with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, also known as Gracie Jiu Jitsu? Awesome, excellent. I do have to say, who knows what Judo is? Judo. So Jiu Jitsu originated basically from Judo in the late 1800s. Gregorian sent one of his top world champion black belts to South America, where Maeda, he met the father of the Gracies, Carlos and Helio Gracie. Who has heard of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or the Gracie family? Raise your hands. So without the Gracie family, we would not be here today, because they are the most regal, iconic, and influential family in the history of martial arts. And I'm very grateful to have trained with and know many of the Gracie family members who I've directly learned from. Wherever Diego is, I don't know where he is. Diego's dad also is good friends with the grandson of Grandmaster Helio Gracie, who has passed away. He was 95 or 92, I believe. And I'm very grateful to be here because I represent Carlos Machado, who is also a living legend and is still alive. His academy is up in Carrollton. But Master Carlos Machado brought Jiu-Jitsu to the Metroplex in the mid-90s because he is a cousin of the Gracie family. And obviously they all grew up together, trained Jiu-Jitsu. And Jiu-Jitsu is a quite amazing thing, because I gotta say, how many of you heard of the UFC? Who watches UFC? Who doesn't watch UFC? I mean, come on. Everybody loves UFC. But do you know, what number UFC are we on? Like 196? 192? Something, right? Have you ever seen UFC number 1? 1993. UFC 2, UFC 3. Well, if you YouTube it, what you will see is a skinny little Brazilian guy going down in a jiu-jitsu gi. That's a gi or kimono, but we call it jiu-jitsu gi. The reason why we wear that is not because it looks like fancy pajamas with patches. It's because it replicates clothing. So in order for you to really defend yourself, unless you're at the beach, everybody's gonna be wearing clothing. You have to understand how to grab, because with that setup right there, between the jacket and pants, t-shirts, sweatshirts, you could choke somebody, in self-defense of course, in a God knows how many different ways. Okay, so we wear these gis in order to practice grips, in order to practice control, in order to be able to defend ourselves, because jiu-jitsu is rooted in self-defense. And remember this, from somebody who, when I was your age, in high school, I was bullied, but I did not know jiu-jitsu, and I didn't have a solution for self-defense. I didn't have a solution on what to do, because back when I was your age, it was a different day and time, and it was a lot more brutal. Even though without social media, there was a lot of fighting and all kinds of stuff that maybe happens now online. But I do have to say, and you will remember these words for the rest of your lives, there's nothing more empowering than knowing that you can defend yourself or your family at a time when you need to. I have 2 daughters, 11 years old, 12 years old, and 8 years old. And for me as a father, in particular for girls, jiu-jitsu is incredibly important. We have one of the best, most amazing kids programs, not that you guys are kids, and teens and adults program. Why? Because in particular for girls who grow up to be obviously women, if you look at the statistics for assault on females, it's what, like 1 in 3, 1 in 4 by the time you're 20, 21 years old. And remember one thing, and I'm gonna say this in a very raw manner, but rape doesn't happen standing. And jiu-jitsu doesn't happen really standing either. So when women train jiu-jitsu, they understand what it feels like for another person, human, to impose their physical will onto you, to where that becomes a normal thing, that you understand techniques, how to fight that off. And remember, for all the girls here, all you need is a fighting chance. You don't need to be a black belt, you don't need to be a super specialist. You just need a fighting chance. And that fighting chance could be be the difference between a lifetime of suffering or saving your life and not enduring suffering that never ends, God forbid. I hear horror stories all the time, and it breaks my heart to hear how many girls run into situations where they're paralyzed by fear, which is something Jiu Jitsu helps you counter. And whether you're adult or teen, it's very important for you to understand that you have to learn how to be comfortable where you're uncomfortable. Life isn't about comfort, life is about discomfort. And the older you get, you see the pressures of high school, you see the pressures of, many of you are going to go to universities, and then college is a whole other pressure. Jiu-jitsu is something that is a huge source of stress relief for myself, being the age I am, for these two gentlemen right here, and for most of our students, because jiu-jitsu is an opportunity for everybody to be the best version of themselves. And I say this because I teach much more than jiu-jitsu through jiu-jitsu. The thing is that when you think of self-defense, and maybe some of you don't want to raise your hand, but how many of you have either been bullied or are familiar with bullying? Raise your hands. It is and it doesn't, bullying doesn't have to be somebody pushing you around and popping you in the eye and you're in the black eye and that's the least of it. The worst type of bullying is the psychological bullying. And remember, bullies that are young, they grow up to be bullies when they're older. And they bully through life until they're put in their place. The thing is that you gotta remember this. Self-defense. Angelo, what's up? I didn't even see that. He's also one of my students. It's great. He's just fantastic. Just got promoted to blue belt. Self-defense consists of two parts. It's verbal and it's physical. But I'll, tell you something you may not know. In order for the verbal self-defense, hey, listen, I don't want to fight. I don't want any problems, because you don't want to fight. The only way the verbal will work is if you know that the physical is going to be there to back up the verbal if the verbal breaks down. And there's nothing more beneficial you could do to a bully than to teach him a nice lesson, gently, kindly, through physical that is there. But the confidence you gain will last you all throughout life. It is incredibly empowering to know, in particular for men, because, fear not the man who's calm and who's all weak and nice. That's the meaning, fear that man, because it's the one who knows violence but has the self-restraint and control is the one that you do not need to fear, because it's the weak ones who will stab you in the back first. It's the weak ones who will sell you out. And remember, they're just waiting. Because remember also this, is bullying consists of simple configuration. Aggressors feeding on any form of weaknesses. And I don't mean to dwell on bullying, but I just know that it's far too ever-present part of your guys' age group. So what jiu-jitsu does, it empowers you in ways to where you're not really impacted by that. And you have tools that enable you to handle yourself in any situation. In the world of man, as you get older, there's a primal hierarchy. Who do you all know not to mess with? Out of all, how many students are there? Like 2,000 in the school? All right, you know who you don't mess with? The wrestlers. And that guy right there. You don't mess with him. He even raised his hands, like, don't mess with me. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you like this, guys, ladies and gentlemen. You know why you don't mess with the wrestlers? Because you know that they will punish you in ways that you have absolutely zero control over. Let's give a hand for all the wrestlers, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Last guy, nice smile. I notice he's got a little bit of cauliflower ear. Remember, the guys who have cauliflower ear, you need to be afraid of those guys. You don't want to mess with those guys at all, okay? I think these gentlemen are proudly developing some cauliflower ear through Jiu Jitsu. I have had it for 10 years, if not more, probably more. I've been doing Jiu Jitsu almost 20 years. So, but getting back to the aspect of Jiu Jitsu, also, what does Jiu Jitsu do for you? Keeps you healthy. Never before have we been at a time as we are today where there has been a greater emphasis on how important our health is. Wouldn't you agree? Especially having gone through the last couple of years of the most crazy uncertainty, and that has been quite crazy. But I do have to say that even though in, what was it, March, April, May of 2020, everybody was locked down, you know what we were doing? We were doing jiu-jitsu. We were training. Yeah, we boarded up the windows, so, you know, wouldn't have any problems. But you know what we were doing? Same thing we always do. And you know what we did throughout that whole lockdown? We continued to do jiu-jitsu. You know why? Because it keeps you healthy, physically and mentally. Health is not rooted in you just being physically fit. Healthy is also mentally, spiritually also fit. And what jiu-jitsu does, it helps you be able to get into a place where you leave all your problems behind. And I say this because I encourage you all to try it. I know everybody's busy, but if it's important to you, you'll make time for it. Our doors are always open. You're always welcome to come by. You can look us up at midcitiesjujitsu.com or Carlos Machado Jiu-Jitsu Mid-Cities. We are down in Bedford. You're always welcome. Okay, but remember, health is physical and mental. And what jiu-jitsu does, it helps you be healthy. Because do you know the difference between eating and fueling? How many of you love to eat? Raise your hand. Yeah. Now, for those who didn't raise your hand, what are you doing? You're not eating? Of course. However, you know, when you eat, think of it this way. You eat for pleasure. But when you fuel with purpose, you know? When you need to perform at your optimum and cut weight, are you eating or are you fueling? He's not eating at all. He's cutting weight, you know what I'm saying? So I understand. But what I'm saying is that there's a big difference between, and what you learn in jiu-jitsu is that there's a big difference between eating and fueling. I got students that come in that think, oh, you know, I'm going to grab some pizza on the way, a burger. So even Chick-fil-A, it's healthy because, you know, it's chicken. No. You feel their sluggishness. They feel horrible during and after. Why? Because how many of you drive? Let's see here. How many of you drive? What do you put in the gas tank?
Pizza.
Gas, right? You don't put soda in there. How many of you love soda? Be honest. Be honest. Nobody does love soda, right? No, barely. I know. Remember, it kills you slowly. I'm sorry to break that reality to you guys. So for a car, you put fuel in there. Why? Because that's what that car needs to run at its optimum. You know what you put? Where it says oil, you put oil. Okay? Why? Because the car runs at its optimum. Same thing with your body. Remember one thing. When you have a car, you mistreat it. You run it really fast. What? You run it really fast. Remember one thing. Your body is the same way. You can run it into the ground, and it's not going to be a very good situation for you guys. So, having said that, I would love to show you a couple of things for you guys to understand what jiu-jitsu is. And think of jiu-jitsu as wrestling with submissions. You need submissions because sometimes you need to be able to subdue your opponent, or somebody that's attacking you and you need to defend yourself. You need to subdue them and possibly maybe choke them, you know, I mean, nicely. And, you know, it's one thing I'll tell you like this. You get a black eye or you give a black eye, bruises go away. But when you choke somebody unconscious, remember, that's going to leave a lasting impression for a lifetime. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Webb and John demonstrate a couple of positions, okay, starting standing. Because what you want to do is you want to go from standing, you want to go to the ground, and you want to take them to your world where most don't speak that language. So without any further ado, Guys, remember, midcitiesjujitsu.com. Come on by. We have the most amazing jiu-jitsu program. And thank you very much for attending. And we're going to do a presentation right now real quick. Thank you very much, guys. All right. So basically, we have a scenario. John and Webb are disagreeing about something, and this disagreement is that he pushes. John comes back. Webb grabs. Whoa! Oh my goodness, that's karate there. And now Webb's hands are up. Obviously, John maybe tries to throw a punch. Webb blocks it. And Webb grabs him and begins to take him down. He takes him down, Yeah, now he gets on top. Now he mounts. Good. You see, this is the mount right there. Now, let me ask you a question. Who's in a better position? Webb on top? Who would want to be John right now? Nobody. Now, here's the thing. Webb has an option, okay? He can either do a joint submission by pulling out John's arm and going for what's called an Americana or a key lock right there. And John's gonna tap. Yes, now you see how that shoulder torques? See how that shoulder? If Webb really keeps going, he will rip John's shoulder and it's gonna be a really bad situation, okay? Now, what John is doing, he's doing what's called tapping, which means that he is submitting. Okay, everybody's ready. Excellent. Now, what happens here, okay, is Webb lets go of John's arm, okay? But John's hands are up protecting himself. Always your hands are up. And what John is going to do, he's going to trap an arm, he's going to bump his hips up, and he's going to roll Webb to the top. And now we're here. Webb's going to close his guard. Look at that. Now John postures up. John can now easily stop throwing punches at Webb. Webb's gonna block one, block two. He's gonna break John's posture, and John's in trouble. Webb is gonna go for a nice submission, and then torquing his arm, pinching that knee on the shoulder, and yes, and John is gonna tap. Very nice. Now go back to close guard. This is a great position, and a very defensive position. I know what you guys are saying, because you guys all have horrible center minds there. But remember this, okay? God forbid you ever wind up in a situation where you're on the bottom in this type of scenario, you will have the tools needed in order to be able to understand that if Webb puts his right hand in John's jacket and chokes him with his left hand under and pulls him in, John has a real big problem, because John will go unconscious, and that's what you want to do. If God forbid any of you ladies find yourself in this bottom position, you will need to choke whoever is on top, unwillingly, unconscious as he pulls him down. Now, if John doesn't tap, John's going to go to sleep, and that's just the reality of it. Also, the other thing is, if Webb wanted to control John's sleeves or his wrists and put his feet on the hips, Webb could set up a triangle right there. Yes, look at that. Look at that right there. John's got even a bigger problem right there, because he's choking him with his legs. And I guarantee you, most legs are more powerful than arms. And going back, let's say we've reversed time a bit, and then they're both standing. Remember this. Whenever you get into a situation with an aggressor, you always need to make sure that your hands are in a proper position. What I mean is this. Webb, hold the mic for me. Whenever you're in some sort of a situation, you always want to have your hands in a non-threatening situation. You don't want to be like, hey, listen, I don't want to fight, because obviously you're saying kind of, you want to fight. But you want to have your hands where you speak with your hands, where your posture is strong. Because remember, bullies or aggressors, okay, They're looking for the weak, okay? Just the difference in your posture could be the difference of you having an interaction or being exploited by an aggressor. When you're walking and you're walking strong, you're looking around, you're aware. Situational awareness could be the difference of life and death. You're walking late night, you're leaving the mall, shopping mall, going to your car, you're parked and all that kind of stuff. You're on your phone, not thinking what's going on. Remember, God forbid somebody could be watching. And when you're least expecting, it is where we are most uncertain that you will suffer most. I assure you that if you think of that most of your suffering in your life has been the result of uncertainty. So if you reverse that, you say to yourself, well, what kills suffering? It's certainty. So situational awareness, where you're looking around, where you're aware, where you're standing strong. I mean, I have pretty good posture. You know, it probably wouldn't want to mess with me, but if I'm standing like this, all hunched over, on my phone, hiding, that's weak. You know, now that is not a weak guy, okay? So whenever you feel and you have your, let's call them spider senses go off, and your instinct, we'll call it, really, is telling you, man, something's not right. Always keep your hands up, because what happens is this. Yes, you can hear. That looks like he's thinking. Because I would be afraid, if I saw somebody doing that to me, but I wouldn't be the aggressor. I'd be like, man, he's thinking about doing something to me. You know what I'm saying? So whenever this scenario happens, it should be probably like this. Here, hold it. So you're gonna throw right. So you're here, and he throws just a big overlooping right hand. Okay? And you're able to always block it. You're able to always defend your head. That's the most important part of your body, is your head. It's where your brain is. Most everybody. Okay? Most. Okay. So one thing that you can do, you're here, and look at the distance right here. So as John throws a punch, I close that distance. I maybe wrap him right here. He can't really hit me. Throw. Maybe we'll do one of these right here. He comes up to the right, to the right. Right to the right. Oh no, and then maybe I'll get to the top. Maybe I'll choke him right here. This way right here. Okay. So you have options. You like that door, right? So look, what I wanted to do, I don't want to stay standard, because I got to tell you, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to throw punches, okay? Any one of you can throw a punch, and it's going to hurt the other person. I mean, it may hurt your hand, but... And also, look at your hand. Make a fist. Look at your hand. Look how many bones you have. Knuckles. All kinds of little bones here. You know how bad it hurts to fracture your hand? Horrible. And you know how strong that jaw is? And you know how hard it is to actually connect with somebody when their head's moving and you want to punch? Look how big that body is, okay? So what Jiu Jitsu does, it enables you to understand how to close the distance and how to be comfortable when there's physical contact. Because you know what happens in most assault situation? The victim is paralyzed by, you know what? Fear. Fear. You're paralyzed by fear. And when I say paralyzed, it causes you to freeze and submit to that aggressor. And God forbid you're ever in that situation. All you need is a fighting chance. Doesn't matter if you're male, doesn't matter if you're female. So in a situation like this, where Webb and John are disagreeing, at the apostles, okay? And what Webb wants to do, he just wants to put his hands up, close the distance, pop John in the chest, and clinch. Clinch, 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 around the hips, around the hips, around the hips, around the hips. There you go, there you go, there you go, good, good. Now right here, Webb just wants to take John down again, and he takes John down, and he mounts him again, But John's been doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu. John says, I'm gonna bridge, trap that arm with your left hand, John, and then bridge and roll up. And now John is gonna posture up. He's gonna throw a couple punches through. Yeah, give him a little business right there, open handed. Yeah, elbow, look at that. Yeah, you see? Pushes that knee down. And now John's gonna get to the mount. He's gonna run around that guard. He's gonna step over a mount. Excellent. But you know what Webb does? Webb makes a catastrophic mistake. Webb starts turning and going to his stomach, and John is gonna take his back, Take us back. Put your hooks in. Put your hooks in. Put your hooks in. And John's choking. Extend. Extend. And he's got the back choke. There we go. Yes! Beautiful. Now look how much fun everybody's having, right? Imagine you too can have that much fun right there. And you don't have to make the wrestling team and be tortured by Coach Kreiner, because I gotta tell you, Coach Kreiner is very, very good at jiu-jitsu, okay? Remember, so what I highly suggest is this. Take time and come see us. And I'll tell you why. I know there's a lot of stress in life. I know some of you are going to school, they're gonna be local. Some of you are not going to school, gonna be local. And what's important is that you guys have an outlet where you can leave all your stresses at the door. How much time? Where you leave all your stresses at the door, where you're part of, 2-0? Okay. Where you're part of a good community of wonderful, supportive human beings, and where you can pursue to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Very few things in this life will offer you the opportunity to be the best you that you can be, like Jiu-Jitsu can. And I talk about it because I teach more than just Jiu-Jitsu through Jiu-Jitsu. I can't tell you how many stories of life-changing transformations of students, adults, including kids, teens, that came in. I had students that came in almost 300 pounds in a matter of 5-6 months. They lost 50, 60 pounds, believe it or not. Started fueling, stopped eating, stopped drinking, stopped consuming other things beyond drinking that they shouldn't be, stopped smoking. Smoking is one of the most deadly things that you can, for those of you who smoke cigarettes, it is absolute suicide. I'm telling you, drinking soda's bad. But let me tell you something. If you want to experience a slow death in your later stages, keep smoking cigarettes. I know now you think, oh, it's cool, it's all the social thing. But let me tell you, I had 2 grandparents who I love dearly that smoked from a very early age. I remember when I was your age, like 14, 15 years old, they'd pick me up from school, high school. My grandpa have the window down like that much, smoking. I'm like, you're gonna kill me, secondhand smoke. He goes, no, windows down. I'm like, what do you mean windows down? I'm like, I can barely breathe, you're gonna kill me. Rolled it down a little bit more that much. He goes, look, you're fine, okay? But remember, and I say this with all seriousness, I saw them suffer a slow death. And it wasn't even lung cancer, it was all kinds of other cancers that resulted from their smoking and incredibly overindulgent eating and completely ignoring their health. All we have in this life is our health. So what Jiu-Jitsu does, it helps you be healthy, physically healthy, mentally, and surrounded by great people. Remember, if you are surrounded by 10 athletes, you probably are the 11th athlete and be inspired. You're surrounded by 10 idiots, you're going to be the 11th idiot. You're only as successful as the people whom you surround yourself with. So I highly, highly suggest that you surround yourself with good people. How many of you are seniors and this is your last year? Raise your hand. All right. How many of you go to college? Should, why not? Remember this. You go to college for an education, obviously, right? Jiu-Jitsu also enables you to get an education. Because you know what? What you learn through Jiu-Jitsu is that maybe at some point you'll have your own academy. I gotta tell you, it won't make you a millionaire, but it'll provide a really good, very fulfilling income, lifestyle, and you'll be very happy without a lot of stresses. I know a lot of people that make a lot of money and they are stressed. Remember, in the famous words of the wise philosopher Puff Daddy or Diddy or P. Diddy, more money, more problems, okay? And I know there's a lot that are now pursuing a lot of riches and wealth because there's a whole status thing goes on. You see it on social media. But let me tell you, life is not about money. Life is not about things. Life is about doing something and being of service, being of purpose. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to let Webb and John go at it, and you guys are going to watch. You guys are going to cheer them on based on who you think has the dominant position. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to start them not standing. We're going to start them back to back. So Webb and John, come on over here, and we're going to start you guys back to back. Let's hear it for Webb and John. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to we'll give them about 5 minutes. Ready, set, and let's go! Yeah! Oh, no. You know what? That is the best self-defense of all. I gotta tell you. You may think it's, but you know what? Jiu-Jitsu can help you just get out of the problems, okay? And exit stage left. All right, Webb. All right, John. Ready, gentlemen? On the count of 3, 2, 1, and go! Let's go, let's go, John. Let's see it. I watch these guys go at it. Now, let's go knee to the belly. John needs to do a little bit of better job defending himself. Webb is going north-south. Yes, good, good. John's got a little bit of problem. Webb is attacking the arm. Yes, yes, up. Webb is on the bottom. John is on the bottom. Oh my God, John is lifting himself. Good, let's get back on the mat, fellas. Keep going, let's go, let's go. John's gonna try to recover guard. He shoots that underhook. It's a little bit of wrestling. Let's go with mount. Let's see it, fellas. Always go for submission. Oh, there goes John. There it goes. He's got his neck. He's got his neck. Is he gonna tap? He's gonna get up. He's probably gonna get up, but he's gonna save his neck. Gonna save his neck. Yes, good time. Right back in the center of this long rectangular mat. Keep it going, gentlemen. Keep it going, keep it going. Let's go, guys. Yes, 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 yes. Let's go, John. Let's go. Get in a dominant position. Let's go. You want to get into a dominant position. You always really want to stay on top because your objective is to stay on top. You don't want to be on the bottom. Oh, Webb is trying to get to the bottom. John's doing the cornholio from Beavis and Butthead there. All right. Let's go, fellas. Let's go. Let's go, Webb. Let's go. Oh, he wants to get to the top. Sweep him, Webb. Tough around here. Let's hear it. Let's cheer him on. Give him a little energy there. Webb, let's go. John, where's your cheer section? John, I thought your daughters go here. Webb is getting on it. Oh, he's gonna choke him. He's not gonna choke him. He's gonna choke him. Time. Good job, guys. Good job. Good job. Let's see you guys give me. I think I know what I gotta do. I think I gotta get in there. I gotta shoot. Cause you didn't even see any fancy submissions. You didn't see all kinds of interesting stuff. I think I gotta put my gi on and get in there. Webb, could I ask you to please commentate?
Here you fight.
Let me also tell you something. It took me 12 years of the most insane output ever to earn this from one of the most living legend icons of Jiu-Jitsu, Jean-Jacques Machado. And this black belt, to some may think, oh, just, piece of cloth. But I gotta tell you, and you can ask your friends, ask anybody, black belt in Jiu-Jitsu is the most prestigious, regal the most hardcore black belt in all of martial arts by far. If you look up, if you go to YouTube, not now, later, you go to YouTube, I see you're all like, okay, I'm on YouTube, what do I do? You look up Jiu Jitsu versus, and you'll see all the other martial arts. You'll see how Jiu Jitsu does against all the other martial arts. So this right here, I've been doing Jiu Jitsu for going on my 19th year. So it's been quite a while. But this right here, if I could only explain to you how much I've invested in this. And these two stripes represent that I am a professor, because I gotta tell you, I am indeed a professor of Jiu Jitsu, because these guys will attest to the fact that I spend all my time thinking about delivering the best Jiu Jitsu to you guys, as I will do so now. Alright, John. It's hard to have to do this. Now, John's going to try his hardest, and I will be in second or maybe third gear. Alright, John. Standing, let's go standing.
So they start out standing, they're each trying to get a dominant grip. If you can get a grip on somebody's gi around their neck, it's a very powerful grip. That's called a berimbolo sweep. He's working his way to knee on belly. John's trying to fight him off with some frames. John's in a bad position right here.
John, get in a good position.
So as John works, what he's doing is he's keeping his arms in tight, trying not to extend them. And what Greg is doing is he's trying to get a hold of that neck. The great thing about strangulations and chokes is it happens to every body size. Doesn't matter how big you are, you all go to sleep. So he's working a lapel submission. He's got the corner of the jacket coming around under the neck.
You got this, John.
Back to knee on belly. John's fighting him off pretty well.
Yeah, John. Yeah, John. Yeah, John.
Yeah.
Now remember, if this were a street fight and Greg were throwing punches right now, John would be in a big problem. So John's got to work to get to the top, so he's working on a Kimura. He's using his lapel, using his clothing again to help be in a dominant position. So if you see, he's got his, if you can tell, he's got the corner of his lapel around John's neck. And John is fighting as hard as he can, and he's about to go to sleep. And his taps and is done. Your clothing is very powerful. Right now, Greg's got that dominant sleeve grip. John's trying to keep his posture. Repeat that grip. He's extended. Oh, he's working on the triangle. This is a very, very common jiu-jitsu move. If you look, it's in a lot of the jiu-jitsu logos is the triangle. And John taps again.
Hey, John, turn around. Is that a logo? That's exactly what I did.
That logo is a triangle. It's a very, very, very dominant position in jiu-jitsu.
Well, I'm going to let John get me in bad position.
So now Greg's going to let John pass his guard, get him in a bad position to show you how to work out of a bad position. Because sometimes we get stuck on the bottom. And there are certain ways to work out of the bottom. That's what we call the pink eye position.
That was a horrible position.
It's the most horrible position to be in jiu-jitsu.
I would say probably one of the worst. Horrible.
So now John's got one foot trapped. He's trying to go to mount. As he tries to go to mount, Greg catches the other foot. John's going for the choke right now, but he's in a bad position. And now we've switched the game. Now Greg is back into guard, working his way up. John's holding on to the head for dear life. Now it looks like John's about got his back taken.
John, just run away. Or don't. Never mind, you got it.
And Greg comes up on top. Round of applause. Go knee on belly. This is called a baseball bat choke. So if you can see, he's got his gi and John's tapping before he goes to sleep.
All right.
And that is an extremely tight choke.
Voila! Just a demonstration. See how much fun that was? Out of you, I don't know well. You know, typically if you do it right, you'll lose about 5-6 pounds every time you train. And you know, your heart rate will go up. You'll recover. How many of you think that Jiu Jitsu is something you would want to try? No, seriously, it really, truly. I mean, wasn't this fun? This was a lot of fun. You should. Well, you came by, no? Yeah, he came by before. Oh, you did? When? Alright, so remember, Mid-Cities, jiu-jitsu.com. My name is Greg Hamilton. If you want to see some very good, let's say, work I put into making sure that you guys can all find me, type in Greg Hamilton BJJ in Google, and all you're gonna see is me. BJJ for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so for all you maniacs out there. I have a question. How many of you would want to volunteer? 4 of y'all. Stand up. No, not you. You. 2 more. You two, and you two. All right, look. Wait, the rest of you look at. So let's do this. We need one more young lady. Raise your hand. One more. There she is. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. And you're gonna do a simple, what's called rear naked choke. Okay. All right. Diego's ready to wrestle. Honestly, I don't want to wrestle Diego because standing, Diego's good, but I'll choke him in no problem. Mostly in the gi, but he's phenomenal wrestler. So what we're gonna do is this. Web. Actually, John, you're sitting on your butt, so we're gonna have a pair up. Let's say, gentlemen, you two are together, but not like that together. Just paired up. Ladies, so one person's sitting, feet that way. The other person's on one knee with the right hand on the shoulder. Right knee down, right hand on the shoulder, just like this. Hold this. All right. Jump, scoot forward. Turn right. Now watch me. Where's my mic? All right, look. You're gonna rub their shoulders. Tell them, look, it's gonna be okay. Here's what you're gonna do. Look. Very, very simple. You like you're holding the key. Don't try this at home. Okay, if you do, make sure tap and they'll let go. Because if you don't let go, when you constrict the blood flow to the brain, the carotid arteries, lights out. You hold it long enough, bad news. All right, show me a key. You're gonna take this key and you're gonna go right across the neck so your elbow lines up with their chin. Yes, and you're gonna hook it with your right hand. With the right hand. Oh. Yeah, with the right hand. And you're gonna put your right hand on their shoulder right here. Okay? You're gonna look at your iPhone hand on the left, and you're gonna take your right hand and you're gonna put it on your left bicep. As this left iPhone hand chops the head right here. Now you're gonna look down because he's got 2 hands and he can reach my eyes, right? With the left hand. Yes, or he grab hair, not that I have any. It's a great self-defense tool. And you're gonna dip your face down in this hole, down in the hole like Alice in Chains, and you're gonna squeeze your elbows together.
Hold it. Actually, go up there, bro.
You squeeze, when you feel that squeeze, tap. With your left hand, with your right hand on your bicep. So, here. Here, down, squeeze.
Oh, okay.
Like you're chopping and your head down right there. Yeah, you want to hide that? Squeeze your elbows. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze until they tap. There you go. There you you know, you gotta breathe. Same key. You're gonna take this key, you're gonna put it on their shoulder. You're gonna take your left hand, palm, like you're looking at your iPhone, and you're gonna slide it under your right hand. And your left elbow is gonna be on their shoulder. Turn this way. You're here, and then your left hand slides in, and your left forearm is right on the shoulder here. Yeah. Push that hand and squeeze. Pull it back. Yeah. Push it. Drive your right temple into their head, and you're gonna squeeze.
Red jacket. Black hair, glasses, looking at me. Oh, right there. He's getting up. You see? Oh, no. See the red jacket?
You gotta choke him, it's the ego, it's not that easy. Yes,
Right there.
squeeze it, squeeze it. All right, yes, good. Now switch. Yes.
Bottom person. You're just sitting there. Top person. Put your hands on the shoulders. Right knee down, left foot up. Left knee up. Give him a little shaking of the, squeezing of the shoulders. It's gonna be okay. Make a key with your right hand. Make a key with your right hand. You're gonna go right across that neck. And you're gonna align your elbow. Notice how I turn a little bit to the left. And now your left hand, you look at your iPhone or Android or whatever, as your right hand goes right into your bicep, and your left hand, you just look. Like, and your left hand chops that head. Chops that head, and lower your head down so you can push and you keep your place. There you go. Okay. How do you go?
Well, you gotta let go, you can't. Look, the whole thing with Jiu Jitsu is you gotta let go, or else they die.
We have a waiver. You sign it, just in case. All right. How'd that feel? Imagine the power you have. You know what would have happened if you didn't let her go?
I didn't let it go.
Well, I know, but you know, listen. You learn self-control. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I think you get the idea, you get the point. First and foremost, I wanted to thank Grapevine High School for inviting us down, giving us opportunity to share Jiu-Jitsu in a very entertaining way. Thank you very much to you guys. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you, Emmy. Thank you, Webb. Thank you, John. Thank you to all of our participants. Greg Hamilton, BJJ, look it up. MidCitiesJujitsu.com. I will be waiting for you. I want to see you there. Thank you very much, everybody.
I
Where did the phone go from? Oh, here it is.
Yeah, it's our.